When the Agudah does advocacy, they're not looking to see if a school is a Sephardi school or an Ashkenaz school. They're not looking to see if the school is a Haredi school or a modern Orthodox school. They're looking to help all of Klal Yisrael. They're out there in Albany, in Washington, in City Hall, every single day fighting for the governmental services that our children need and deserve. And for that, we owe Agudah Yisrael of America tremendous hakar satov.
Our advocacy for the yeshivas most famously goes back to the early 1960s.
The secular Jews were the ones who generally went to the government, with rare exceptions.
Rabbi Scherer was invited to Washington to testify on behalf of a federal education law.
It was the area of aid to non-public schools. We disagreed with the secular Jews.
The ones who were mostly supportive of it was the Catholic community.
The Catholics were on one side and the Jews were on the other, and Rabbi Scherer sat down with the Catholics. And the usher said, "The rabbi, I think you're on the wrong side." And he says, "No, I'm on the right side. On this issue, I'm on the right side. We're the people of the book, and we believe that wherever it can be aid to help build our yeshivas, we were going to try and get it."
And his testimony was so noteworthy that it made page 1 of the New York Times on the next day. And what's interesting was the background behind that. It wasn't just the effort to obtain funding for our yeshivas, which was obviously critical, but it was what he had heard from his great Rebbe, the Rosh Hashiva of Aaron Kotler, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, who told him that it's very important that Agudas Yisrael testify in support of this legislation, because if the only ones who would be supporting this would be the non-Jewish community, and all of the Jews would be on the other side and be opposed to any type of benefits for religious education, that would send a terrible message to the world that Jews don't care about religious education. When you think of the Jewish community, recognize that there is a corner of the Jewish world, the Orthodox Jewish community, that is strongly supportive of religious education and recognizes that this is the key ultimately to our survival.
We know, as Balabatim, responsible for the budget of the yeshiva, that we have a full-time, ongoing shutuf in helping us manage the financial affairs of the yeshiva.
Individuals understand the scope of what the Agudah has done for the yeshiva community.
Whether you know about it, whether you don't know about it, every single yeshiva is helped by the Agudah.
And really work on the
WASI grants, where we got $5 million working together for Jewish synagogues and yeshivot so they could guard themselves.
This past summer, the Agudah conducted a Washington mission, which we do every second year. It's through this type of contact that we can make inroads in the various halls of Congress.
Here in Williamsburg, our yeshiva as well as other yeshivas gained tremendously from the Shtadlonos Agudah, the connection that I made with Albany regarding the mandated services, bus transportation, and specifically recently on the CAP. It was in year 02. The state had the Idea Technology Grant. They allocated millions of dollars to make it handicapped accessible. Definitely the Shtadlonos of Agudah, especially Mrs. Zakai, that put in tremendous koiches. It's loy mekoyma shluda machabda luda machabas mekoyma. The people are so dedicated and they put in their koiches and the talent, and Baruch Hashem, we see that they are metzliach, and we hope to Hashem that they should always be metzliach in their Shtadlonos of Toivas HaKlal.
We get state-mandated services, as does every single yeshiva in the city and the state. For a school of our size, it could run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. CAP funding was an incredible thing for the yeshivas. Blessed to have a person like Leah Steinberg, the director of Project Learn. Project Learn is a service that the Agudah provides to advocate on behalf of students, parents, schools in the area of special education. Through the offices of the Agudah and specifically through Leah Steinberg, we are able to get something called a P3. A P3 is just a simple voucher that enables a parent to get private resource room services provided for either in the home or in the school.
My grades have just improved tremendously.
And this is really saving the schools thousands and thousands of dollars.
We're in Albany at the conference for non-public school administrators. We try to get as many yeshivas to come here just to be seen. The more the politicians and the more the people up here in Albany see us, the better it is for us, and it translates to money. The Shtadlanis efforts that we came to Albany last year for paid off to the tune of a $30,000 check for Beis Yaakov Academy of Queens.
And that is, the state can say, you want to take us to court? Okay, we'll fight in court. In the meantime, we are removing the mandate.
Yeshiva HaTorah has definitely been a beneficiary of the Agudah in that we know that we can count on the Agudah to be advocates for us at the government level, to make us aware of programs and initiatives, to communicate with us. Their communication is outstanding and timely and efficient and effective. We're very grateful.
We're here today to show our support for Agudah and for whatever they feel is going to be helpful for Klal Yisrael. We see that their efforts are to help Klal Yisrael, and we want to be there to help them.
As we all know, yeshivas are all individually owned and operated. There is no such thing as a district office or a superintendent's office. And in effect, I think our office serves that function. There's one address to call anytime a yeshiva needs a question answered, needs information, or needs assistance.
It's fun. And if we get 12 points, we get a prize.
I learned math. Some of the examples I know pretty much, so I finish it very fast.
I wanted to be an accountant, but my father said it's very hard, so I'm going to be a dentist with my sister.
Title I program is a federally funded program that services the needs of children in a supplemental way outside of the classroom in small groups.
Today I learned sight words.
What the Agudah has done specifically, Deborah Zakai has been able to advocate for the yeshivas and getting the services that is really coming to us.
It's easy to read. I feel happy.
I have a tremendous amount of Hakaras Hatov as a principal in a number of yeshivas spanning 30 years.
How I would be a teacher when I grow up.
I would say Agudah Yisrael has been responsible for at least $20 million worth of funding in communities like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Cincinnati, Ohio, Columbus, successful voucher program, tax credit programs in Illinois, Arizona, Minnesota.
We've been fortunate in Ohio to have a coalition of school choice groups, and Agudah Israel has been a very strong member of that and a leader in many of our efforts here in Ohio.
The Ed Choice program has been fantastic for us. We're entering year 4, and this coming academic year alone, we're looking at about $110,000 coming in from the Ed Choice program.
We had a major effort about 10 years ago to look at sensitivity on the Regents exams. I was selected by the Agudah to serve on a committee to negotiate with the state to try to make the questions on the Regents exams to conform much more with the needs of yeshiva students. I remember the Novominsker Rebbe, when I was just trying to, again, I was looking for what the lines are. The Novominsker Rebbe banged on the table and he said, the pasuk says, Lo sasuru acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem. Our kindlech can't look at things that are inappropriate, and their hearts can't be exposed to ideas that will turn them towards kfira. And it was just so perfect, because when I had to go back up to Albany a week later and I was sitting in the room with the state education officials, it was very clear. Was this an area that was a lo sasuru? Was this an area that was acharei einechem? I was very lucky that I got to see how Gedolei Yisrael dictate and guide the operation of Agudah Yisrael of America. It's not like any other advocacy organization in the world. It's not that you have balabatim or lay professionals who are going and advocating for the needs of yeshivas and for the needs of Klal Yisrael. Every action that the Agudah Yisrael does is guided by Gedolei Yisrael.
The education of our children is one of our highest communal priorities and responsibilities.
Our next issue is definitely going to be our education. That will bring into the community for students close to $18 million.
Start early to protect the Priority 7 child care vouchers.
And therefore, for the last 7-8 years, we've had Priority 7, even though it's a continuing battle.
We're going back to Albany again. We're going back, as Shmuel Lefkowitz told me 16 years ago, in an earnest effort to do the right thing.
We have committed Balabatim, committed yeshiva administrators, yeshiva principals who say to us, you need us, we'll be there.
When we started the high school, they were there walking us through the steps of getting approved by the New York State Education Department so that we could be able to issue diplomas and give out regents exams.
The Hakaras HaTov that Beis Yaakov has to Agudah for everything that they've done for us, for all the yeshivas, on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And that's why we're here. We're here to show Hakaras HaTov to the Agudah, to give them chizuk in their work for what they do, and they really, really work hard. They're the unsung heroes of Klal Yisrael today.